All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a new episode of Movie Nightcap. We're at the AFI Silver Zombie Night, if you can't tell, in Silver Spring, Maryland. We saw a special preview showing or premiere showing of Dead Snow 2.
I don't know about that.
No? I thought it was the only showing for it.
It's a stretch.
All right, well, you're the facts man, so...
Yeah, I think it was just a showing of Dead Snow 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Not to diss you or anything.
No, that's exactly what I think you're doing. All right, so joining you tonight is myself, Nate Fisher, as Zombie Doc Brown, and joined by...
Arian Andrews, just a regular pseudo-zombie.
He actually just came from a bar fight. He's got a little grazing.
Yeah, that's about it.
It's typical Friday night.
Someone didn't like the movie, and he just let him have it a little bit.
Pete's hand.
All right, so in typical fashion, we're going to go around and start off with a grade and talk about what we're drinking tonight, which will be pretty straightforward because we all have the same thing.
We do.
Why don't you start us off, Pete?
I would give the movie an 8, which is crazy because I thought I would give it a 4. But that being said, we'll get into that later. But I am drinking Death Becomes You. I had to look at the bottle. It's delicious though.
All right, how about you, Aaron?
I thought I enjoyed it, so I thought I would give it an 8. I would give it an 8 as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I guess I don't want to be boring and say an 8,
Do it.
but that's right where I felt. 8.2.
Run with it.
Just be a little bit better than Pete's score.
Do that.
Just 8.2 works.
Okay, cool.
We'll take it.
And also drinking the Death Becomes You. So I think a big kind of effect of the enjoyment of this movie was the crowd that we watched it with. There wasn't anything to really... I'm sure everyone's had those movie experiences where the whole group is just on it kind of together. This was absolutely a movie not to take seriously, so there was nothing off, like out of bounds as far as like shouting during the movie or, you know, people talking or whatever. And it kind of added to the enjoyment. So what were some of your thoughts on that, guys?
The crowd made it. This would have gotten, well, maybe 6 if it weren't for the crowd. Yeah, but Silver Spring showed up and they came out with there was plenty of drunk people in the crowd and they got after it, and you get some drunk people around me and I'm gonna bite. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think the number of zombie fans that were in the room was pretty evident in terms of some of the costumes and whatnot. So people did definitely show up and were definitely in the mood to see the movie. It was definitely one of the more interactive crowds that I've ever been in.
Yeah.
In terms of being in the theater, so it was great.
Yeah, it was funny. This was up there with the last time I had a crowd like this was a similar movie. It was like a horror movie. It was called The Descent. Back in the day, it was like this: people go cave diving and are attacked by male and female golems, basically from the
I didn't know they were.
in the mountain. Yeah,
No one does.
But people were just yelling the
intriguing
most
that
awful things through that movie, and it made it so much more enjoyable. I just think, like you said, if you watch this by yourself, or God, if I had to watch this like with you, it would have been a whole different, probably like a 2, much worse rating.
I guess we know where we stand.
I think he was pointing at you, though. I wasn't included.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah,
I'm gonna distance myself.
yeah, you should, because it was clear that
What was the
it's nice. Thank you, though.
It made me feel better to be in a room full, or a giant theater full of people, when people was maniacally laughing. When I saw the blonde man getting run over by a car to get stuck out of the snow, I was like, my dear God, now I don't want to get stuck on the side road with Pete ever.
That's
right.
So, spoiler alert: a blonde zombie got run over by a car. But yeah, I think that was a very good example of. That was some of the more over the top humor in the movie.
Yeah.
And they went overboard, and that might have been when you called me out for laughing very, very hard. Because
You got called out for that.
Oh, he did. He pointed at me and said something disparaging, which is not uncommon. But during a movie, he's usually respectful of an audience.
Yeah.
And this was not a respectful audience. Or at least I would say that they knew what the crowd was like, they knew the context, and so it was, for that reason it was acceptable, and he definitely put me under the car.
It wasn't a bus, it was just
Did I just blow your mind with that? Did I just
My
do
brain
that?
is no longer in my mind, but if it was,
Thank you, Doc Scott.
Doc Scott.
Is it not Doc Scott? Doc Brown.
He says great Scott. That's what you get there.
I'll do it.
Yeah, so that kind of segues into the type of humor that was on display in this movie. I think you kind of hit the net on the head. They got in early and established this is an off-the-wall, humorous, like, I felt so bad. I brought my girlfriend Christy this. I was like, oh, it's gonna be like Shaun of the Dead. It's gonna be very funny, very over the top. There's gonna be some like very gory moments or whatever. But no, this was like the gore was very tied in to the humor and ever present. You didn't go 5 minutes without the extreme
No, not at all.
body gorish humor.
I mean, I believe there were certain various zombie scenes where they were using entrails to harm another person.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite laugh in the movie.
I
When
don't
you
think
had
I've seen that
zombie
before.
Strangling someone with the entrails of a previous victim.
Why would you call me out then?
Because I could.
Why would you?
I thought that was your dynamic for you guys.
Fair enough. That's not enjoyable.
That was me trying to say, I get you, Pete. I mean, there were times where I was laughing at your laughter at the scenes. Like, that was part of my enjoyment of the movie.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I had expected a lot of camp from the movie, and I'd expected a lot of typical bad camp humor to go along with the gore. And I was totally shocked by how well they pulled off the humor in this movie.
Yeah.
Because it was smart.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, I mean, yeah, as smart as slapstick gets, you know?
Yeah.
They did it in a way that was very well executed, and for that reason I was very, very pleasantly surprised. That's why you get to call me out when I'm laughing really hard at a man getting his groin run over by a car.
Yes. They earned it. They earned that
Yeah.
payoff.
It was ridiculous.
It was.
I did not expect to laugh as much as I did. I was
No.
expecting very much the sort of campiness. And, you know, sort of chuckling to myself. But I actually laughed out loud a couple of times.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed to say. People actually heard me in the vicinity. Just surprised.
Your wife no less.
I know.
This is your date night of the month.
That's right.
Trouble in Paradise.
That's right.
This
I don't know if we're gonna make it.
That day.
That's a result.
I personally know I have to take Christy to several, I don't even know, like rainbow viewings or so. How do you make up for this?
This is a triple rainbow.
This is a triple rainbow.
Fuck you both, because B made it through 7 minutes before she was snoring on my arm. So
She
yeah,
woke up with
I was
a
laughing
blood
so
stain
hard.
on her hand and her face.
that's the thing, is I was looking at her the whole time when she was like was sleeping on my arm, and I'd look over and she was like blood stained from her costume, and I'm like, I want to say you're sleeping sweet like an angel, but that wouldn't really be appropriate.
No.
You
But
are
at
from
the
the
same
depths
time, you
of
look
hell
over and you'd
right
be
now.
like, aw, look at that.
Yeah, there was nothing sweet about my really, who was a really sweet fiance at the end of the day.
I mean, I think she proved that in whatever situation, a flower can blossom. Because there was innocence present in that theater.
Okay.
I suppose. She
Which
was,
that argument can be made just being in a relationship with Pete. Like, she is...
I'm the shit in which flowers blossom.
That's the scene I'm
I'm so glad you decided to say that instead of me. But I think we were just talking about like the success or the follow-through of the humor. Like, with everything said, however, body or lowbrow it was expertly and passionately executed. Like, they definitely tried their best to make a really good, over-the-top bad movie, if you will.
Absolutely. I mean, it was over the top in ways that I can't hope for over the top.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, I saw
This movie was your spirit animal.
maybe It may have been the jackalope that is my spirit.
Really? A jackalope, your spirit.
Well, based on the movie as well as my personality, I couldn't hope for anything as dope as a Black Panther.
No,
He's a jackalope of all trades.
Couldn't hope for a snow leopard.
No,
No, not me.
only come out once every 20 years and whatnot.
Lion, no, that's not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Maybe a weird marsupial.
No, I think with the whole
Like a
over
meerkat.
You know, fucking weird person. Let's not talk about this. No. Okay. Please.
I have no idea
Please
about this
proceed.
meerkat thing.
Just don't bring up meerkats.
They're his least favorite marsupial.
I have no. I'm learning a lot tonight. So I felt the humor was completely over the top. It was a stupid movie, in a lot of ways, but it was done very well.
Yeah.
Like I didn't find any of the humor, surprising as it may have been, too grating. Do you know what I mean? Where I was kind of tired, getting worn down through some of the jokes.
Yeah.
I think they moved pretty well in terms of pacing the jokes, as well as the gore, which both were, in a lot of ways, way over the top.
Oh yeah. Spraying it. I mean, they were spraying gore at points at the kids.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, they had their moments, but I'm not going to fault them for that.
No,
You know?
I mean, I think the point is, I think most of us kind of assumed, I assumed at least this was going to be a shit show. I was going to laugh through, but it was going to be laugh-induced by large quantities of alcohol.
Yeah.
And I would laugh at this movie without a beer.
Yeah.
And we did say the crowd absolutely added to it. I think that it was kind of a group validation where we all kind of gave each other permission to laugh so hard and to go to this place by having so many people together, especially on the zombie night. So I think it's a situation where, like, if you watch this alone with like the wrong group of people, where you wouldn't give each other permission to laugh and enjoy it to the extent that having a night, it would impede the humor. But this movie brings the humor. It's absolutely like well made and meant to be funny.
It was well worth actually seeing it in the group setting as well as on the big screen.
Yeah, totally.
I think that was. I generally have not watched a lot of horror movies in the theaters.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
To be honest with you guys.
Fair.
And so that was an unusual experience for me. And so it just brought a whole other sort of part of the viewing that was really, really helpful. I enjoy it.
I'll actually, I agree with you, and I still do, but for one of my courses I took was history of film. It was over the summer, so the teacher had leeway to do some creative history of film and comedy.
Really?
And so I got to see, it was the first time I saw some of the classic horror movies like The Exorcist, the original Texas Chainsaw, stuff like that. And to that point, I'm bringing that up because I agree with you where it was worth seeing those on the big screen. You could tell watching like this is how on a smaller screen television, or even just the atmosphere. Like, movies are meant to be enjoyed socially. I think it's just something that's really interesting in what the direction that entertainment's going with. Like, people binge watching, you can watch movies coming straight to your TV. A lot of movies are getting, like, I'm sure this was a movie someone quoted, like, was this like a direct Netflix release?
Right.
A lot of movies are getting released simultaneously, like on demand and stuff. And I think there is a bit of that being missed of, like, movies are meant to be enjoyed in large groups on big screens, and it was cool to get that experience.
Yeah, very social experience.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the humor?
Wish I did.
You'll catch up. It's okay, Jack. You've been giving me that death stare for a long time.
And the makeup helps.
It does. I'm far more unsettled than just kind of tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember how you said you didn't feel good about possibly hitting him because of this bandage? But there's still plenty of room on this side.
Just saying.
you're really not helping your situation. I just told him I'd stab him.
I'm just trying to get out of here. Trying to survive.
He's trying to get us to go after each other so he can just sneak out. The exit is
So
right there.
you sided with the guy who was gonna get stabbed. That was your.
Yes.
You should. Genius is a very, very debatable term.
You should just walk away. I mean, frankly. All right. So our final topic for the night is friendship building, which I think is something that is appropriate to bring up now.
It is.
Wait, friendship building?
Friendship building.
Did we agree to that? Is that for real?
That's on the paper.
It's actually
Okay.
It's in the script. It's in the script.
stick to
I have had a lot to drink this evening, so bear with me.
It's actually one of the jokes where, so the movie did a very good job of spreading the love, where they very poignantly at points, this scene was making fun of this group of individuals, this scene was making fun of this. At one point they did take the stabs at themselves, kind of making the joke of like, I've seen a ton of zombie movies, I've never seen any shit like this, this is stupid, like.
Super self-deprecating.
Yeah, it's a whole
absolutely.
new genre.
The whole new genre.
Yeah,
It's just
so,
great.
yeah, with that said, what is this genre? Is it a whole new genre? Where does this movie stand in the history of zombie movies? Or zombie entertainment? Because God knows that is a cash cow, right? Like, it's just, it's something that they thought was going to go away, and it keeps coming back, and it has just been a huge part.
When did they think it was going away?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just...
No.
I mean,
I think that's fair.
Impression, I thought
Prior
that
to
heyday
the
of the
vampire
70s and
craze,
the 80s.
zombies were passe.
Yeah.
They were real ghosts, my friend.
That's right. That's true.
I'm with
And
it.
he must really mean that for as angry as he is right now to agree with me. Even more than agree, to save me from the clutches of looking asinine on a podcast.
Yes.
He swept in.
Too late.
No, you just saved me. You saved me from great shame, and I respect you for it.
That's good. No, it was definitely a new genre. I don't know in terms of like where it fits because, or whether it doesn't fit. It's sort of tacked on at the end in terms of like, it's with the level of gore that was included, you can't like sort of deny that and say it was just a comedy, right? It was a true zombie movie. In a lot of ways, from the opening scene, right? So, you know, in a lot of ways, I think with the jokes, it was just.
I mean, they covered new ground.
Yeah.
Martin alone, as a character, covered new ground.
He did.
He was the first one to get a zombie transplant. And what was that? There was a zombie love story that came out like last year or whatever.
I believe that was Warm Bodies.
Yeah, they called it like a zom-com or whatever. But this movie somehow managed to be the first zombie movie with a zombie sex scene in it. So definitely a new genre.
That was.
That fermented it.
Homage to Titanic as well in some ways.
Very touching homage. I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking.
You're making me.
Although I was
I
desperate.
don't get sick often from beers, but you are making
Are
me
you
feel
now
very
ashamed
sick.
to be on the stage with me?
I mean, I feel very nauseous, and it's very hard to do.
How did you not hear Celine Dion when that?
I'm actually amazed that this movie did not start playing that when that happened. Because you're
agree,
right, you're
I agree.
absolutely right. That
Should've
is
gone there.
what they were going for.
You should have gone.
And I was so desperate to think of anything else other than what was going on in that movie. I immediately was like, oh, it's a Titanic reference. Stay there, Nate. Don't come back to this reality right now.
I was just happy that my neurons in my brain were firing enough to make the connection. Like I was happy. Like it was like I hadn't had enough to drink.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was the very first thought I had when I saw it.
Oh, yeah.
It was hilarious.
So intentional. That was
That makes me
absolutely-
feel sick to my stomach. Really, I'm not even fucking with you. No, in terms of genre though, I would say that it is not a new genre. It's an old genre that people have not done well, and this is one of the first examples of people doing it well. Because I feel like
I don't disagree with
I feel like this was a really, again, I want to say this was a very good example of camp. And not just horror camp, but the horror comedy genre has been attempted before. And I don't know what the term is for it yet. Maybe I'm not hip to it, but nonetheless, they just did something that people have tried before and just have not pulled off very well?
Well, I think I more agree with your point that it was a genre that's been around before that has maybe disappeared. What was the genre, the subset of that movie culture of like Vincent Price made a ton of them back in the day? Like there's this movie I saw in that same history of horror class that was Vincent Price was a theater actor who got scathing reviews from like all these critics and stuff. So he went on a murderous rampage to kill all these critics as different characters in Shakespeare, and it was very much like this. It was very gory. It was very like at one point he kidnaps this guy's dogs and bakes them into a pie and then feeds them to him until he like explodes out of fullness and stuff like that. And very gory. It was like from the 70s.
Okay.
But it was, there is a similar genre like this horror, comedy, gore. I'm trying to remember. I feel like it was called House of Gore or something like that. This genre was like the House of Gore something.
Even more in a more like contemporary setting, you look at Army of Darkness. I mean, even Evil Dead 2, you know, which are very good examples of the genre. But, you know, I think that it's just degraded since then, and this is, in my mind, one of the more poignant examples of somebody doing it well, understanding, being self-deprecating, and understanding how, like, yes, we're going to make fun of ourselves, but we're not going to cheapen ourselves by doing that.
Yeah.
You know, like, much in the way I feel about myself.
Really?
Again, this movie was mean-spirited on that.
Yeah, self-deprecating, but I'm gonna try as much as I can not to cheapen myself.
Well, I even think in some ways, like when you think about Army of Darkness or when you think about Evil Dead, some of the horror comedies, even when you say cheapen, even like the budget is part of the joke. Right? And I felt like with
which
this,
no matter what the budget of this movie was, they maximized what
that's what I'm saying. Like ultimately I thought it looked really, really good.
Yeah, that's a great point.
That's a different
it's interesting.
There's a little bit of quality that was not part of the. Thank you,
nailing it.
No,
don't stop. Keep going. Keep talking.
No, but ultimately, like, you know, I thought that was something that sort of stood out in terms of just the sheer quality of like the filming and the production. So.
I agree with you. I think I had that point. I was like, this is ridiculous. That is some beautiful cinematography for the crazy shit that is going on screen right now.
Right.
But even equally to its credit, this movie, there was never a moment where I was like, oh, that was shitty.
Right.
Like, you know, you were never pulled out for, and it was crazy. Crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you talk about, we saw, you know, it's an animated film, but we saw Book of Life. He was talking about how he couldn't have like 100 Desperados on there and like everything equals budget and stuff like that. That was animation, but it's the same thing when you're having actors and makeup and prosthetics and fight scene choreography and stuff like that, and just the scale of what was going on in this movie and just the ridiculousness off the wall. Like, you know, gore is special effects too. Like, it's not CGI, but it's still like practical, or, you know, I would feel watching this movie, there was a lot of things where I was like, wow, that is a very sophisticated shot to set up, or to have the entrails, you know, when they like just ran that gamut of pulling these entrails out to set up, like, I was so sad. I feel like they cut a scene, but when they like were sucking the gas tank up where they're like going to blow up the car, they never showed the payoff for that. But like, that was so.
You need to fucking get a therapist.
Come on.
If you felt like they were cutting a scene from that shit.
I do.
God
like,
damn.
You got the gasoline coming out. I
Robbed,
do.
in fact.
I do. That's why it's an 8.25 instead of an 8.5 or a 9. Like,
that was it.
Where's someone using someone's like jawbone as a flint or something and then lighting that shit?
Perhaps we'll wait for the next one.
What's in the third one?
Yeah.
Wow. You guys have the darkest romance I've ever seen. Ever. Enjoy that.
I think there was
validate you.
There was another point that I thought was something that was sort of new in terms of, and this is a bit of a spoiler in some ways, but the whole concept of zombie versus zombie.
Right,
like the final culmination in terms of this epic battle, which was really cool, and it was wonderful. Oh Yes. Well done, sir. That was, I'm just gonna go now.
No, you bring up a great point though.
But
It's
in
a
terms
weird,
of things,
weird-
yeah, in terms of like the genre, that's like just one step. I don't think I've seen before.
Yeah, to find so
Although,
much new territory in a zombie movie at this point, like hats off. Like even as crazy it was, but the idea of having like, I didn't see that coming. I saw the parallels of like, oh, they lost their arm, like, oh, they're gonna get something crazy, and there's gonna be some crazy one-arm man fight. I did not see the twist coming of having the guy having a zombie arm attached to him.
Yeah.
And that hasn't been done before. Like I thought,
It was Satan's arm.
yes, Satan's arm.
But this is not. I never saw the first one, so I don't know the context for that. But he said Satan's arm at one point, so.
A couple times.
Okay.
I just took that as him saying it was like the arm of the devil, like this undead arm.
Yeah.
I didn't think he meant something too specific.
Yeah. I think to me that's another level of them thinking out the story in a way that I wouldn't ever expect somebody to be able to think out in writing in a movie like this.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it was German zombies versus Russian zombies.
Yeah.
Which I appreciated the history lesson as well.
Yeah.
I found that part to be somewhat new and fascinating. I was like,
Wow.
I'm actually learning something about, Norwegian World War II history that I had not known before.
I have Norwegian blood in me. So.
Oh.
Yeah, it really resonated.
Wonderful.
It was heartfelt.
Excellent. I'm glad you could take that away.
Yeah, heartwarming. Yeah, it was beautiful. Anyways, so
I love the Freaks and Geeks guy. was
Shut up,
on there,
Nate.
Oh my goodness.
Wearing the Neo jacket.
Yes. You got the Neo thing too. Like that hit me at some point, where I was just sort of laughing because it's sort of a non sequitur that he would.
It was another sci-fi,
Yeah.
like that whole group. That was awesome.
Your Latin doesn't exist anymore. I don't even know what I'm saying. Latin, non sequitur. Oh,
Oh. My wife.
it's a comic
My
in the
watermelon
Washington
is-
Post. In any event, I just want to hear what you guys' final grades are on this.
You want to start at my end since we
Yeah,
started
do
with
that.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.